Today we're going to be making a collaged cupcake with a few mixed media things added to it. So to do your cupcake, the materials you're going to need, you have your large sheet of Bristol board. It's going to be your background. You have a piece of white construction paper, gray construction paper, and red. So the white will be for your icing on your cupcake. The gray is going to be the cup, and red for a cherry on top of it. Also, you're going to need, you'll need a pair of scissors. You're going to need your watercolor set. You're going to need a glue stick, and you will be needing your pastels to add some sprinkles and other details. So to get started, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to watercolor the background for our cupcake so we can set it to the side and it can be drying. Now, even though we know the cupcake is going to take up part of this space, and this is a rather large sheet of paper, I can't get it all in the camera here. We want to fill up the whole page. Okay, so I'm going to be doing kind of like some wet on wet technique, where I can get kind of a tie-dye effect is what I'm going to go for. I think I'm going to stick with just certain colors that I know that will go together well. So for the wet on wet, first thing I'm doing is I am adding some water to the pans of color I think I'm going to use, and for right now I'm going to stick with my warm colors is what I think I'm going to do. I may switch up and add some other colors. I've just got to make sure that when I put colors together they're not going to mix to make brown, since we are painting all of this, you know, pretty much at the same time. So up here at the top I'm going to go on and I'm going to wet my paper. I'm going to wet it a little bit. I'm going to go in, I'm picking up some red, and I'm putting that in. I'm going to go back, clean my brush out, get some orange, and kind of see how it's blending together. When you wet your paper, it will blend together like that. And I'm just doing a little bit at a time because I don't want the water to dry up. And you can see as I'm wetting that paint's starting to kind of branch out and do some cool stuff down there as well. Now I'm thinking I may do some cool colors over here. So colors that I want to be careful. I got red and I have yellow. So I know with those two colors, if I use blue and red's going to make violet, and blue and yellow is going to make green. So those would be okay. Now if I chose to do purple and yellow is a complement, so I would end up getting some brown. So I'm going to just put some blue over in here. And I could put some green up in here if I wanted to, because those do mix. But over here where I've got this blue, and I've got like this band of blue, I think I'm going to put some purple. Now I did put newspaper down before, so I don't have to worry about it getting on my table. So I have purple here. I could put more blue or I could do red, and I think I'm going to go back down here with some red. Kind of divide it up a bit. And when you're doing watercolor, it is important that you are you have clean water and dirty water, because especially if you're trying to do some stuff with your colors, like say for example yellow. If that yellow, you put dirty water in it, it's not going to stay yellow. It's going to contaminate it. Alright, so I've got my paper here. I'm going to add a little bit of blue down here and just let it kind of do some stuff. You all can't see it that well because it's the very bottom corner, but I got to noticing I didn't have green, and I've kind of got a tie-dye thing going on here, so we wanted to have a little bit of everything. So now that you've painted your background, we're going to set that to the side and we're going to let it dry. Okay, so I'm going to switch things over to get us ready to start working on the cupcake. Okay, now we're going to start working on the cupcake, and for the cup for the cupcake, I've given you a great piece of construction paper, and basically the whole page can be the cup, but we don't want it to be a rectangle. So what I'm going to do is, and I'm going to do this using my Sharpie so you can see my lines, I'm just basically from the top down here, I'm going to come down a little bit, and I'm going to do the same thing over here where I come down just a little bit like so. Okay, so once I've done that, I've made my lines, I'm going to go back and I'm going to cut those out. And notice I'm turning my paper so it's easier for me to cut in certain directions. Anytime that you're cutting things out, know that you can move that around to help you out. So now on the cupcake, or the cup for the cupcake, we're going to do some designs. Put some lines in here to make it look like a cupcake. You can use any kind of oil pastel that you want to. I'm thinking I'm going to go with blue for mine. So I'm just going to do some lines. And it can be as simple as that. If you wanted to go back and add some more color to it, you could. I'm going to get a different blue here. And maybe you want to fill in between. Let me try doing some stuff like that. So, maybe you don't want that gray cup. You want to go in and you want to color in the space. Now I'm not going all the way to the top. You can, but our icing is going to overlap that a bit. So I'm just using the oil pastels to go in and kind of color in between. And remember, with your oil pastels, you can go back and you can blend. I'm trying not to hit that blue because I don't necessarily want it to go green on me. Although that could have worked since I didn't have much green in my background. And as you're working on this, if you could still have your newspaper down, that way you don't have to worry about that oil pastel getting on your table. There we go. I am going to take a little bit of white and go along that blue line, just kind of highlight a bit. I think I'm going to go back, put a little bit more blue on that for it to stand out just a little bit more. So see, I'm going over and I'm using those pastels and I'm kind of blending and making things, you know, colors stand out. Okay, like so. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get ready to start figuring out my icing. Now the icing, if you look at it here, let's see here, you see the paper is that I've given you is about the same width as the top of your cup here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually do some tearing. And with the tearing that I'm doing, you see how I'm overlapping that there? I'm going to overlap it. But, you know, this right here on the sides, kind of want to tear that a little bit. I don't want to have a straight line on the outside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on the back side of this here glue where I can glue it down to my cup. And I'm not going to glue all the way up, because then if I glued it all the way up, I would end up gluing it to my newspaper or my table, and I don't really want to do that. So, and I'm going to be careful because I do have oil pastel still on my finger. We don't want our white icing to get all colored up yet. We are going to add some sprinkles to it with the oil pastels, but we don't want to do that yet. So now I'm just going to do a series of torn paper, and you know, I'm gonna those sides I am gonna tear, and as I'm adding it, I'm kind of stacking, and I can kind of look and see, you know, what looks better. Does it look better this way? Does it look better flipped over this way? Because I'm layering that icing up. I think I'm going to go this way. Now, here's what's going to happen here. I'm going to put just a little bit of glue up here along the top edge. Now, I don't have purple glue so you can't see it, but you see I haven't gone lower than right here, because now I'm going to go back and I'm going to glue that on top. And remember, you can use that top edge, the lid from your glue stick, to help you push things down, to add pressure without using your fingers. So I'm going to slide this down just a bit. I'm going to do a little bit more tearing. And you know, we want things to get bigger, or get smaller actually, as it goes to the top. So as we're working with this, it's okay if it's getting smaller. We want that. I think I'm going to go that way. And on this, just going to put a little bit up along the top edge, because we're just kind of wanting to tack this into place. Because when we get ready to put it on our background, we're actually going to put glue all over the back. Okay. And see, I still have a pretty good amount of paper here. You may not use all your paper. And that's a little bit too wide, so I'm going to take a little bit more off here, a little bit more off here. Let's see. We'll put that there. More glue up. Just tacking this down. Okay. And it's okay if you know, you see how I've got that diagonal going like that. That's okay if you wanted it that way. I think I'm going to just end up tearing a little bit more here. That's what I'm going to do. And I just need a little bit more on top. Just a little bit. Not a whole lot. Just like so. So put this here, tack it just a little bit. And I have a big cupcake, and it's going to fit on my paper pretty good. Pretty good. Watercolor still drying just a bit. Now I need to cut out a cherry. And for your cherry, it does not have to be a perfect circle. I'm going to move this to the side, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to draw. Kind of like that. That way I'd have a little indentation for the cherry, and you know what? If we wanted to, we could even add the cherry stem. I want to do that. I know you're like, you got black Sharpie there. Well, guess what? I could flip this over on the other side and you wouldn't see my drawing. But maybe the drawing works. And if you know, after you draw yours out in pencil, you want to go in and outline yours with Sharpie, that's okay, because you've got that in your kit. Just like that. So I've got my And put our cherry on top. And flip it over and leave those drawings if we want. I don't know, I kind of like the outline with the black Sharpie. I may keep it. So I'm gonna put some glue right up here where the cherry's gonna sit, because we don't want to have extra glue. I'm gonna put that there. And the only thing we've got left to do is we can add sprinkles. You don't have to add sprinkles, but if you want to, you can. And it's just going in there and putting a few little lines in places and in different directions. Some blue sprinkles. And like I said, you can put as many sprinkles as you want, or you don't have to put sprinkles at all. It's not required. So I got sprinkles all over. I'm going to leave it like that. Okay. So now I'm going to check on my watercolor over here. See where we're at on it. So I've got my watercolor paper here, and I did get some stuff going on here blending. And you just kind of look at it and see which direction you think you like best. Now here's the other thing. Once this is dried, look at there. It may look better that way. It may look better flipping it around this other way. I think I kind of like it the other way I had it. Yeah, I kind of like it that way, and I'm going to have to move it where you can see. You see how down at the very bottom, this is going to fit. If you stack that up with the cherry, it's going to go from the top of the page to the bottom of the page. So you'll add glue all over the back side of this, and then you'll glue that down, and you have your Collage mixed media cupcake. Enjoy.